Hello and welcome to Model Aviation Live. I'm your host, Jay Smith, executive editor of Model Aviation and Park Pilot magazines. And you may have realized that our show is a week late this month. We did that so that we could accommodate our guest, who I will talk about here in just a few moments. But before we do, I don't know if you realize, but right this very moment, the indoor Nats are going on. It's kind of amazing to think that the Nats are already here, at least the indoor portion. And this year, they're taking place at Round Valley Aerodrome in Arizona. So we have a picture here for you. It tells you a little bit about it. We're really excited about it. Obviously, as you probably are aware, we will be reporting on it on Nats News, and you can read all about it, the indoor Nats, and you can also read all about all the different Nats, the different special interest groups. I personally participated in the indoor Nats a few years ago when it was in Champaign, Illinois, and came back with a first place plaque, which I have right here in my office. So I'm a big fan of free flight. It's a big fan of indoor free flight. It's the only time that I was able to launch my own model airplane and then take photos of it in flight, because I think my aircraft was flying for like 12 or 15 minutes indoors. So I launched it, got my camera, and was able to take photos of my airplane in flight. So it's really exciting to share that with you, that it's going on right now. It started on May 24th and goes through tomorrow, the 28th. So if you want to learn more about that, be sure to check out the Nats News. Also, I'm excited to share with you that I have the newest version of RealFlight here that's recently come out. Right here, I have the new version of RealFlight. It's even got, if you look closely, let me put this the right way, we've got the AMA on this side. I'm always pointing at the wrong side on camera. So it's even got the AMA's sign from out front. But beyond that, beyond just RealFlight as the new version, I've also interviewed Scott Kemp, who started Knife Edge Software, and Jim B., who then took over Knife Edge Software and just recently sold RealFlight to Horizon Hobby. So I interviewed both of them about the beginnings of RealFlight and, just a lot of cool information of some of the things over the years that have happened with RealFlight. And so I'm excited to share that article as well as a review on 9.5. I've been flying RealFlight since the second version, and it's a great simulator. So it's going to be exciting to share that story. Also, if you tuned in 5 weeks ago when we did the last show, I shared with you that I'm going to WonderFest in Louisville, Kentucky. So a week from right now, I will be in a class painting a statue, airbrushing techniques, dry brushing techniques, brush painting techniques. I'm really excited to no pun intended, brush up on my airbrushing skills. And we've got some instructors that'll be leading us through that. And then the show has over 500 entries into their model competition, and they have airplanes and sci-fi and all different types of categories in their model show. So I'm really excited to go to that. I was there in 2018, was the first time I ever attended it. It's a really neat show. They also bring in a lot of guests who work in special effects and creature effects and props. They're going to have Judy Robinson there from Lost in Space. You can see her on screen there. Several Lost in Space robots will be there. They're going to have people from the 501st, which is stormtroopers, dressed up like stormtroopers. It's all about movie making and the people behind the movies. So anyway, I'm really excited to go. One person last week said that they are likely going to go. That was our last month on the show, said they were likely going to go. So if anybody does go, I really would enjoy chatting with you. So if you do see me there and you are able to attend, please don't hesitate to stop me and chat with me. They have a really neat dealer's room with all kinds of plastic model kits and resin kits and lots of dealers for airbrushes and paintbrushes and paints. So anyway, just wanted to share that again for anybody that might be interested in that, and hope to see you there. I'm hoping that some of the techniques I learn I can bring back and share either on this show or in the magazine. I'm happy to do that. But obviously we want to get to our guest, And it's a very special guest that's joining us, John Bristow from Deluxe Materials. And he is joining us from England, where it is about 8:05 in the evening. Hi, John.
Hi, Jay, and hi to everyone in North America.
Happy to have you with us.
Thank
And, first thing I wanted to talk to you about, John, is you just recently came back from Joe Nall, which is an amazing event. And it was your first time. You flew all the way over to attend Joe Nall. So I was kind of curious, your thoughts on what the show was like.
So we flew in through New York onto Cleveland, and then drove down. So we took a little bit of a holiday in doing that. But I'd heard Joe Nall was sort of the event to attend. It's probably one of the most major events, if not the most major. We had intended to go to Top Gun, of course, but COVID prevented me from doing that, Jay. But never mind. We did see a lot of the Top Gun pilots there at Joe Nall. But what an amazing show, actually, and I think we really enjoyed it. We had it was made easier for us because we were hosted by a dealer in Florida, Aeropanda, Manny Rodriguez down there in Florida. I have to say a big thank you for him, and Dan, his business partner. They're jet dealer friends. They stock our products, and they made us most welcome. So that was quite nice. I mean, when you come to an event like that, you honestly, if you're a manufacturer coming all the way from England, you don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, these models you're showing now, Joe, are huge. It was just a new experience for us. Good for the glue business, I guess. Yeah, it was just really nice to meet and some new experts in this business, whether it's jets, petrol models, whatever, and all sorts of construction techniques from foam right through to composite. So we learned a lot, and I think we met a lot of new friends, as well as, or made a lot of new friends, as well as meeting the manufacturers, people like Desert Aircraft that use our Power Model 2TS two-stroke oil for building their engines up. That was quite important, actually. It's really a hub for meeting key people in the industry. To be honest, I think we were blown away. The organisers, there didn't seem to be any accidents or anything like that. This tremendous hobby of model aircraft was very well represented in all its disciplines there. And people were really enjoying their holidays there. They seem to be there for the week. There's something we have yet to be able to get round to do here in the UK. But I think the Nats the Nats in the north of England is the nearest we get to that, a 3 or 4 day event in August. But for people to come on their holidays and fly model aircraft in the US, which you guys do, it's just wonderful to see, really. I mean, there's three. I don't know how many flight lines. I think there were 3 or 4, plus a big lake. It's just amazing, really. Only in America would this happen, because you've got the time, the space, the money, and the leisure, and the models to really enjoy yourself. So I'd say well done to the organisers, and congratulations on putting on such a great show. I'm sure you'll see us back there.
Well, yeah, with 7 flight lines, there's certainly so much to see, and control line, and jets and helicopters and electrics. And I've been to Joe Nall twice myself, and I even took my father, who's an air modeler, one of the years that I went. And I really think it should be on everyone's bucket list. You got to go at least once, because it's an experience.
Yeah, it's nice to see so many people with the cost of gasoline. I think just $4 or $5 in the US, still making the effort. I mean, to be there, gasoline here in the UK is, I think it's $7 or $8 a gallon. I worked it out, about $8, I think it is. So you've got it cheap at the moment of $4 to $5. But no, really good. I think we were primarily interested in seeing the jets, because we've developed this turbine oil, which we'll talk about later. and some of the more specialist epoxies that we've got for the builders there. So yeah, we'll look forward to coming back again. I'm sure we'll be back at some point, if not next year, soon after. We probably also need to get to a West Coast show, I think, as well at some point. So we'll maybe ask you about that, Jay, offline at some point.
Perfect. Well, John, obviously, a lot of companies in the United States sell your products, to include Horizon Hobby, and we've had your products in the magazine. But for those that are watching this that aren't familiar with your company or products, give us a little background, a little history on Deluxe Materials.
Yes. Well, welcome to the world of Deluxe Materials. For those of you who don't know us, we're manufacturers of model hobby products, primarily adhesives, finishing products, adhesive accessories, and also more recently lubricants. We've got expertise in that area. And it's not just for aero modeling, it's for railway modeling, it's for doll's house, it's for plastic modeling, all of which are significant hobbies within our reach as manufacturers, and we'd be wrong to ignore those. We've been going since since 1973 actually, which means next year we'll celebrate 50 years, which is, not many people been around for that long. My skills, I suppose, I'm a chemist. I've got a degree in chemistry, and I followed that with a master's degree in engineering at Cranfield College of Aeronautics, an old bomber station in World War II, where I studied tribology, lubrication, and those things. And then the first job, I got sent up north in England and working for a shipbuilding company, and got involved in designing or putting composite materials or new materials into the Navy, essentially the war machine, and that took me and led me and showed me the world of resins and composites. The book on composites hadn't been written really, and there were people doing a lot of work on the ratios of glass to epoxy resin, the flexural strength, the tensile strength. Those are very much unknown. You can buy a book on the strengths of various grades of steel, but you can't with composites. It's all got to be rewritten and researched. So we're right at the forefront of that. Underwater submarines, and I remember I got the first project was actually building a sound insulation for nuclear submarines, and finding the glues that would bond the sound insulation system to the steel carcass. I mean, the carcass on a nuclear submarine is that wide, and you can put a house inside a nuclear submarine. It's amazing. But and you might remember a couple of submarines colliding underwater when they couldn't hear each other. Well, you could possibly blame me for that. But yeah, so that was one thing. But at the time, what drove us into the hobby market was, I suppose, I was very, very active model. I was doing model boats. Flying was not on my portfolio at that time, and I was just dissatisfied with some of the things that we're being asked to use that were available in the market. And one of the things which started us all off was silicone rubber, which was burning through on the exhausts. So I thought, well, why don't we combine silicone, which won't burn, with metal, and that way we can get the heat out of the exhaust system through, and it wouldn't burn through so quickly. So we invented a product, and I dug it out, high performance silicone, which is actually a metal filled silicone rubber. What an idea. So that was my first attempt at trying to bring something novel that worked for modelers and help them. And I think that's a theme that probably runs through our whole company philosophy, trying to make better products that work for modelers, improve their hobby, and make the hobby more enjoyable. And then at the time, we found some distributors and we realized the shops wanted to buy some of these things, and we found distributors. This is Irvin Engines. Ron Irvin, we knew. He was a builder of pylon race engines. and very famous, became very famous. A personal friend, I think, of Bill Wisniewski at the time, and experimenting with nitromethane and stuff like that. He took my line on, and we owe a lot to Ron, and they really started us off in buying glues, and that's really how we got going. I think really. I always think that we're not really, the business is not just in the UK, it's everywhere. Modelers are everywhere, which is really great, particularly in North America. But we're not really, I would say, an English company operating. We are an international company based in England. So right now, you will find our products exhibited at the Shizuoka model show in Japan this week, right? We're on that stand. You know, you will find us in Germany, you will find us in most European countries, you'll find us in Hong Kong, in all the many shops. We don't have a huge part of the market, but that's part of the business, is to grow the awareness of the company. But yeah, so that's a little bit of introduction. Probably about 100 products in the range, really.
So what makes you different than other companies in the marketplace, do you feel, John?
Well, I think the most important thing is actually to be different, you know, to want to be different, because actually I've learned a lesson in life. It's no good doing better this year than last year. It's not enough. You've actually got to be better than your competitors, because they'll take your market from you, right? And that's been a rule all the way through. I think the key thing is that because I'm a chemist and I'm a modeler, we've got a unique advantage, because we understand what modelers want, example, the silicone, and we can make it, actually. That's one example. I'll give you an example here. Pass me over the, we sell a canopy glue. We used to sell a canopy glue, RC Modelers glue. I think they're fairly familiar, right? But we put it into this sort of pack now, an upside down pack. Being thick glue, you know, it will run down, it'll always be ready, and it will sit there on your bench, ready to use as a nice applicator. Little things like that's one example of the sort of things that we'll spend some time or think about. Is an obvious thing that we can do. We'll just do it. I think one thing is being able to do it, but also doing it is another. Give you another example: the plastic glues. Pass me my bottle. There's a glass bottle there, Vivian. We've got a range of plastic glues, and yeah, we've actually developed our own bottle. Right, it's a bottle that's stable, so it won't knock over. But more importantly, there's a lot more detail to this. What we had to do was develop the tuft that goes into the stem, right? And make sure that the stem actually sat at the bottom of the bottle, so that every last drop you could get out. Well, actually you can't, not quite with this one. So we give a modelers another slightly longer brush that you can get in. And that's all bundled together very nicely in this plastic glue. So we're thinking about some of the things that people are doing. And another example probably is that's very important is things like the labeling and thinking about, like us. Give you an example, our superphatic glue. Right, here's one example. We take pride in writing propositions that on the label, to make the labels not just attractive but make them clear. Because it's important for the dealers that the products look nice on the shelf, So your proposition you'll find on this is that it's an ultra thin, foam safe, odorless penetrating adhesive, right? And that's got to be on the front, right? That's the point about it. We've updated a lot of our packaging. Here's another product that we've made, a tough task adhesive, Fusion, right? This is for, this will actually create hard material. People wondering, what would you use that for? Well, for bonding and creating hard material. So here's an example where I've replaced carbon fiber with Fusion, right? So if you've lost material, I've actually bonded and created a lug with Fusion material. So it's very, very hard plastic. It's durable. You couldn't do with this with epoxy or anything like that. So it's an unusual glue. It's a powder liquid mix, and there's a small demand for this, but we do it, all right? And the other thing, another example is probably wanting to do specialist products, right? And I'll give you an example. I think everyone's got epoxy glues, right? But what we wanted to do was make an epoxy for the jets. So we developed a thixotropic epoxy glue that would work, and you could run a bead down amongst formers, form fillets, build your composite models very well with this. The adhesive actually just sits in an applicator, which we said, and you load a syringe, mixing head, and the epoxy will mix as it comes down, and then you can basically apply that where you want inside your model. But what we must do is make sure that we tested this in the right material. So we've done strength tests where we've matched the best in the market, and there are some very, very good epoxies out there, and we've shown that it matches those products. And you can find that test work on our website, actually, the test work that we've done. So it's actually making the right products and making sure they work for modelers and understanding what they want. So we're putting epoxy glues not just in bottles, we're putting it into the right sort of dispensers, and we're testing it with the right sort of materials, really. So they're just probably the best examples, or some examples of where we want to make a difference, really, because we understand what's needed.
Well, one of our friends at Horizon Hobby has joined us. Craig Greening says hello to you, John, and hello to me. Craig always comes out to the Nats. I hope to see you at the Nats again this year, Craig. And Joseph Martinez says, never knew anything like that Fusion adhesive existed. That looks really neat. So you've already got a fan of it, John.
Yeah, it's an amazing product, actually. And if you buy a pack, the shelf life is like forever. It's a powder liquid thing. You think, wow, what's this? And you can also repair things like all the acrylic broken parts in your refrigerator. You know, those drawer units, clear plastic things. So yeah, it's distributed by Horizon, actually. So you can buy Fusion from through the Horizon dealer network, who are our business partners. So hello, Greg.
So what challenges do you face, John, in with Deluxe Materials?
Oh dear. Yeah, I'll think about this. I mean, I won't go into all the mundane things like labeling or anything like that. Basically, trying to buy packages has been a nightmare recently. For instance, the jet oil pack, we've had to change now to a metal tin. But we've gone through 2 or 3 iterations. The guy that set the tooling for this pack, he got struck down by COVID, so you lost him. So the tooling, the blow molding company that makes these bottles didn't exist. you don't just need a 1 litre bottle. You've got a 1 litre bottle that takes the right size label. Those are sort of issues. Anyway, we're back into a metal can now for that. That's just one example, but probably some more interesting ones. Well, are what products do we go for next? We're pestered for you get a large portfolio of things that people are asking you to launch, and you semi-develop them. And here's one, actually. It's a lubricant for locos, lubricating the mechanisms. Being experts on lubricants, I thought we can do that. Well, funnily enough, the guy phoned up this morning, a shop, pestering me for half a dozen bottles, but it's not on the market. So that's really a tricky issue. I think going into plastic modeling is worth thinking about. We felt as though we needed a very good plastic putty, a precision plastic putty. We didn't want just any old putty. We knew that the putties on the market were flammable. They shrank when they got into gaps, and we didn't want that. So we came up with a putty that didn't shrink. When you put it into small gaps. It's a white putty. I've just made this little prop, and this perfect plastic putty is water cleaner. It doesn't shrink. So how do you do that? That's not something I'm not going to tell you, really. But that's proved to be one of our most successful products, and again, you can get it from Horizon, actually. And then I was thinking about some of the other problems we wanted to tackle was stopping glue nozzles clogging, which is a continual nightmare, really. I mean, the obvious one is with super glue. We've developed these what we call these rat tail tips. We actually sell. We developed a pack of those. These little sit on the bottle. But we want to just educate people on how to dispense super glue. So what we're telling people is actually what you should do is squeeze the bottle. We made the oval bottle. Squeeze the bottle, apply the glue, right? Just apply the glue, turn it round, and then release the bottle. And that will drag air back down the nozzle to keep it clear. That's the way to do it. There's a little diagram in our next catalogue. If you're dispensing white glues, you can put them into a syringe. We sell a little syringe kit. Well, how do you stop the needle clogging up? Just rest it on a damp sponge. Very simple idea. We'll tell people that. We've developed the growth in laser cut kits, both in model railways and also you find them in model aircraft. I think there are some kit manufacturers producing laser cut kits. Jay, you probably know someone. I think the Mark Freeland's obviously got stuff.
Right, Retro RC and many others like that.
RC, a lot of laser cut kits. Well, what we've done here is we've got a very, very beautiful fine applicator, right? But we developed a needle that actually goes down, allows you to clean the needle, right? So a very simple thing, but much appreciated. So it's these sort of attention to detail that we've done. And then just going back to plastic modeling, we've developed a very, very beautiful applicator called the Pin Flow, which is it's actually a little pipette, and it holds. You draw the plastic adhesive up by inverting it into the adhesive, the liquid adhesive, and then it will run down to the tip, and then you can literally it will just flow out as you need it. Not sure whether you can see that or not.
Yeah, we can pick that up. I can see that.
Pick that up?
Yes.
Yeah. And you just rest that on your bench and it doesn't leak or anything like that. What a beautiful thing. Because sometimes the brush can be too much. So that's just another example. So applicators, applying the glue and stuff like that. And anyone bonding using our speed bond, which I say Horizon Cell, quick trick, just show you on camera. You can actually get these caps off very easily. They just pop off with a thing. Stick that back into hot water and it will pop back straight on. All right, if you just want to clear the nozzle. So there's a few practical things that we're doing on, some of the challenges, trying to solve blocking glue nozzles and things like that. So, right. I think that's probably enough on challenges. I'll bore you to tears.
Well, no, I mean, that's some great examples of things that you've thought about to help out modelers and some of the problems and some great tips. One of the things that ever since I met you, John, and and talked to people in your company since Toledo a handful of years ago, one of the things that's really impressed me is your concern about making products that are safe. And I know that there's people like myself, for example, that I have to be really careful now when I use CA, because I've used CA for so long that I have a little bit of a reaction to it if I'm not in an open space or I don't have a fan going. And I know you've shared with me many times that you try to develop products that are safe for the people that use them. So could you kind of elaborate on that, about your focus on safety?
There was a very nice, I think it was the early 80s, and that very nice chap, David Boddington, who's no longer sadly with us, but Andrew is the editor of Aero Modeler magazine. And he came up to me one day, he says, John, what you need to think about and he's a wise guy, I listened to him, you need to think about making products safer. And I took that to heart. And and ever since that day, I mean, it must have been early 82, something like that, the days of Sandown Park, one of the bigger shows here in the UK, he just came up. So we set about, dope was one of the things we were very conscious about. And there's a lot of harmful solvents in dope, right? And we wanted to get rid of that smell. I know modelers love it, but so we developed a product called Easy Dope, right? We found the chemistry that works and seals tissue paper and that sort of thing. It won't work on all fabrics, but it will work on the primary ones, all right, that you'll find, silk and certainly tissue paper. You apply it you dilute it back and you basically brush it on. You use our tissue paste, which we've developed, allows you to pull the tissue out and dope it. But there's absolutely no smell. So we got some nice letters from people. I mean, you get modelers phoning us up from Finland, say, thank you very much. I can now do my hobby in the winter. They've got to work it indoors in the kitchen. And we had a schoolmaster from Canada actually write to us. He was teaching aero modeling, Jay, and to his school, and he wanted a supply of dope, which we were able to supply him, for his school classes, doing after school aero modeling. He didn't want to expose the children to dope. So that was quite nice as well. It's very important actually, because a large parts of the world, there isn't a lot of space, and you're working in a confined environment. So dope and odor, we found that particularly when we traveled to Asia, a family's living in one room, maybe the mother, the wife is pregnant, so they're really scared of odors and what can happen, right? So that's been very, very, very important. A big one though is, which I do want to talk about, is the jet oil, because we were asked by Colin Strauss, RCJI editor, to develop a jet oil, because he was conscious that the oils, with the proper turbine oils that are being used by a lot of people, are not the right oil for burning. They're essentially hydraulic oils, and they contain hydraulic additives, phosphorus, organic phosphorus material, organophosphorus, phosphates. And the EU has certainly done a lot of studies, and there's a lot of concern about when you burn these oils, the vapors, particularly if you're constantly exposed to the vapors. So I thought, wow, this is not easy, but I must do something about that. Our commitment to want to make products safer, absolutely. So we basically built a product from scratch. So no organic phosphorus. What we found was some of the very latest synthetic technology, actually technology that's only recently become available in the last 3 or 4 years. And we've essentially used that, boosted the oxidation, the high temperature performance of it, and put some practical things in like color and odor to make it more attractive to use. So people could, when you tip the oil in, you can see the oil is in the fuel. We've ended up with something that's non-flammable, can easily be shipped. It's attractive smell, and it's dyed green, you know, so you can see you've got oil in your fuel tank. But you know, and I quote you, Jay, having my plane and fuel in the back of my van. This is someone up in Sweden. Also, when driving, he must carry his plane around with him while he's working. Driving to work all week. That this odor really means a lot of comfort driving now. You've eliminated the odor, and also less odor when a turbine is running. I no longer need to hold my breath when taxiing the plane out to the airstrip. That, I mean, you know, how nice it is that people appreciate this and do it. And we've got manufacturers' approvals now. They've got behind it, and I just thought it was the most responsible thing to do, really, for the industry. You know, JetCat, Zekai, Jets Italia, and my friend down in Florida, Jet Central, have given us. We've got approvals for a large number of manufacturers. So I thought that was quite important. But on that same topic, here's another one. Brush Magic, brush cleaner. Now, brush cleaners are used by people spraying, airbrushing indoors, right? They're spraying, they want to clean their airbrushes. So here's a brush cleaner that when you pour it into a container, you come back a month's time, it's still there. It doesn't evaporate. It's got twice the power of toluene in terms of cleaning and its ability to take paint out of the airbrush or paintbrush. And it's got no smell, it's non-flammable, and you can send it anywhere in the world. I thought we've got to make this available to modelers. It's a responsible thing to do, really. So that's another one. And I think I mentioned the putty, so those will probably be the most important ones that we've done, really, in terms of making safer products, Jay. Good examples, I think.
Absolutely. Well, you talked about safety, and you've talked about some innovative products, but is there anything specifically around innovation or techniques that you want to share?
Innovation, yeah, there is. I mean, I think innovative is my definition of innovative is when you move one technology from here to there. That's basically my slant on innovation. And probably the best example, most recent example, is what we've done with tissue paper, where we've taken high pressure water. This is innovation. We've taken high pressure water filtration technology into filter paper. We've found something that is 12 grams per square meter, and we've developed a way of coloring it. So we can produce bright colors, and it's got really, really good wet strength. It's on the other tray, I think, Vivian. We can probably give you a little demonstration of that in a second. The other one is we've developed innovation. In terms of innovation, is the ballast, a product for model railways, right? We've developed, because they want to stick down ballast between the railway tracks, this granular type material, and we've basically bought some polymer in the cardboard box, Vivian. That's it, yeah. Basically, we bought some polymer in that's used for bonding sand in the desert. Yeah. We sell a product called Ballast Bond, right? Most people will use PVA, right? But that's unpredictable. And if you're laying a model railway layout, you don't want anything that's unpredictable. So this stuff, the polymer here, is designed for holding water around plants in the desert, so they grow in an oasis or whatever. And I thought, well, that's a much more sensible material. It's got all the health FDA approval, I think it is, in the US. So that's a great what I'll call use of innovation. And then we've got there's another one actually, which is a powder adhesive, which we've called Ballast Magic, which I think I've got here. Yeah, there's a kit. This is a powder adhesive that the model railway people. So you mix your granules up with this, make sure the points are all working, and then you spray it with water. I won't demonstrate it, I'll get myself in a mess here, but it works really well. But how clever is this? And for the railway people, you can get the track up because you can dissolve it back with hot water. So they love that. So there's a chemical. So where did the idea for this come from? Right? Where does the innovation? Well, it's for sticking fertilizer on the ground in farms. Can you believe that? So the wind doesn't blow it away. So they glue the fertilizer to the soil with this stuff. I'm not telling you what it is, but that's the what I'll call the innovation that we've used really. But come back to the tissue paper. I think we've got some. Just show you. I'll give you an example of the tissue paper before I leave this slot. This is our easy tissue product, and we've built in the wet strength. So I'm just going to dip this into a little bowl here. This looks like for my pudding later. So the key thing, any good rubber modeler will know, you need wet strength to pull the tissue around, so you can see. You can drag the tissue. It's not going to tear today. Compare this with the sort of thing that you buy in the hobby shop, right? So you end up with a mess, basically. It's almost impossible, whereas why not use easy tissue? And we developed a whole range of sizes and colors. We've even got red checker now you can buy. And again, Horizon's got all these colors. We've just introduced a yellow and black checker for people.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really, really nice, actually. We've got an antique. And we just checked that you can put white over red, getting the brightness to make sure you can put one color over another. We check those things out. So that's really about their examples of getting the right paper technology, getting the lightness and coloring it. That's what I call innovation, really. And again, Izaki tissue disappeared from the market, and I thought, well, there's a gap there in the market. Oh dear, that was a 2-year project in the making, though, to design this, really. And everyone will want pink and yellow, pink, won't they, and mauve, and I'm not sure where it'll end, but anyway, that's my problem.
Well, I love all the props and the show and tell. I mean, that really helps showcase your products, what you're showing us. You also touched on, you wanted to talk about the creative side. So you talked about innovation, you talked about safety. So what do you have for us on the creative side?
Actually, yeah. The creative side is, well, I actually would like to talk first of all about a lady that works for us. Have we got, Vivian, the creative side on that tray, the tray with the tube standing up? We've got a very nice lady that creates our adverts. And that's precious. Being a good designer and lay adverts is one thing, but when you come out with headlines, like we've had one for a glue enhancer, let's just get it. More bonds than 007. Right? So this is a primer that called Tricky Stick that allows super glue to bond shiny or low energy plastics. But she'll come out with that sort of thing. And we sell believe it or not, we sell a smoke oil for model railways called Living Steam that's got the smell of Welsh coal, you know? So you get that nostalgic smell. It's not, don't you get the smoke? So she comes up with a headline called Living Steam. It makes chuffing sense. So, you know, she's really creative from that point of view. But what about a product called Liquid Gravity? Is an idea for a creative brand, you know, pourable weight. So you can put weight on the model to balance, adjust your center of gravity. Pour it into a little area on the front of a rubber model, touch it with CA, and it will set it in place. So you can do fine tuning. It's called Liquid Gravity. It's not lead, because we would never, it's against our rules to sell something that's harmful. And it's not uranium either. A lot of people ask me, so, and it's very popular, certainly with model railway people and aero modeling, but you know, what a neat thing really to do. And the thing which we're probably quite proud of actually is this designer tissue that we've designed, which again is based on tissue paper. We've actually put together a what I'll call a designer sheet with all the scallops pre-printed on the tissue, right? That's it, hold that, Vivian, right? And you can see a sheet here, half a sheet, I'll hold it up. It's got the stars, stripes, and everything that you could possibly want, just to basically make decorating your model easier. And the full set of instructions inside on how to use it, including in German, French, Italian, Swedish, Spanish, French, and Japanese. And because we are a worldwide company, and I'm pleased to show, maybe Mark Freeland, we've actually got an example. We've got Mark's chicken hawk model, where we've actually shown the use of the scallops. We've got blue underneath. We've got as a smallest checkered pattern that we've used on the tail. There's the flags that are all on the sheet, and we're just launching that now. So that's an example of wanting to be creative, I think, you know. But I'm not finished yet, because we've just launched a plastic glue, right, called Precision Plastic Glue. It's non-flammable, right? And we've overcome the problem which you get with some of these other glues, mention no names, of blocking needles, because we've designed the glue so that it doesn't block, or will have less tendency to block. And the needle, which will often get damaged, we've hidden that on the back of the bottle. So it's encased in the bottle. So in transit, it doesn't get damaged. So we're quite proud of that, and I think that's using creativity. And Susanna, I mentioned, and we work very closely on getting the shape of this right. And you can also see inside when your glue is running low. So that's another thing. So it's non-flammable. Incredibly, it can also be in the UK. You can also post it for a very low cost, which is a help to the dealers and modelers, because it can be treated in the UK as a large letter rather than a parcel. So it can be posted for £1 rather than approaching £4. So there's £3 lost in this. So there's creativity really. 3 or 4 items there that we're trying hard and we're quite proud of, I guess, really.
Well, I mean, you've covered a lot of innovation, a lot of creativity, a lot of different things. So, you mentioned that next year is 50 years of Deluxe Materials. Yeah. So what is it you're most proud of?
The first thing was when Horizon called us up and said, we want to distribute your products. This is in 2010. And I thought, wow, we just come back from America and we'd done a survey. We drove from New York to Los Angeles and we went into hobby shops and we asked them whether they would like to buy our products. And they all said, if you want to sell them to us, go to Horizon, because they're very, very good in terms of customer service, the product knowledge, the key things to the trade, really. And I thought, well, yeah. But then they called us, and I thought that was nice. And they've taught us how to support them with products. They've worked with us closely in the development. They helped us with this a little bit, the idea of getting rid of the needle because it could be damaged in transit. And, we're pleased to be working with a major company like Horizon. I think we also like to solve modeling problems as well. So we get quite proud when someone will come up with a horse and he's broken it and we're able to glue it for him there and then. We've got a solution, an instant solution. I think superphatic glue has been quite important as well. We're quite proud of that. For those people that are allergic to cyanoacrylate, they've now got a real alternative to that. The one we were talking about earlier, how about tacky wax? Right. So developed really for the Doll's House people and the model railway people. Here you've got a sticky wax, right, that will hold things in place. And you can move it around. So if you've got figures, you can actually position them and move them around on your station, that type of thing. But for radio control, what better than basically just pick up a screw and basically just position it where you want on your servos, right? And if you've lost a screw, just a little bit of wax, just pick it up, lost something in the bottom of a model, it's an instant solution. Vivian here even lost her wedding ring once down our sink, and I was able to extract it because it works underwater. And I even was able to extract my house keys, front door keys, through the letterbox with a dab of tacky wax in an emergency when I couldn't get into the house. I put a great big line through with a big blob of tacky wax, and the keys came through the letterbox. Anyway, yeah, but I think the other thing we're proud of, I think, is also the connection with Gravity. I've talked about Gravity Co, Richard Browning, and this guy that's running Jetpack. He's developed a jet suit, and he's basically, man's flying now with JetCat turbines on his back. And I phoned him up and I said, talk about the turbine, or I think if you're flying into crowds and stuff like that, that's quite important. You use something that's environmentally friendly, because there's quite a bit of appeal. But he's now working with the military, and he's doing a lot of life-saving stuff, flying medicines up the sides of mountains, to get into inaccessible areas very quickly to save lives, So I think we're quite proud to be part of that journey. And I've even got a university in Prescott, Arizona, Department of Propulsion. He phoned me up, Gary Cosentino, the director of the Department of Propulsion. He's now started to use my oil for his student teaching of propulsion using small turbines. So that's quite nice. I mean, he's a jet flyer as well, but he's an ex-NASA engineer, and he knew the dangers of using these full-size turbine oils. So that's quite nice. And what are we proud of? We are proud of our new catalogue, which comes out today. Believe it or not, it's just on our website, and you can download that. It's 32 pages. It's got 4 more pages. It's rich with lots of new information. There's something like 60 videos and 40 articles on techniques. There's a library at the back, application guides. Because Horizon said to us, one of the things you're good at is you've not only got the right products, but will you help them find them through application guides, and you then show them this sort of thing, and then you show them how to use the products through videos and techniques. And the videos are embedded in this, really. Anyone wants to get hold of this catalogue, they can actually just scan this QR code and it will come down, and you'll get a link to download our latest catalogue, right? And Horizon Hobby will be getting supplies of this over the next 4 to 6 weeks. So yeah, so I think that's probably enough things to be proud of. You know, we've had some interesting gluing tasks though. I must tell you about.
Okay.
Will come up to you at shows. We've had some quite good ones. I had an MSc student of biology, I think it was, or zoology, wrote to us about 15 years ago. And they were studying the behavior of a woodland beetle species. And they wondered if our tacky wax would hold a small video camera on the back of the beetle, right? And would it cope with all the rustling amongst twigs and leaves? And, you know, and would it harm the beetle? I thought, Anyway, we didn't hear any more because I think they probably lost the beetle and the camera somewhere. But it just shows you it's quite amusing, some of the things. We're always being asked to stick someone's shoes or their glasses back together. But I think the ultimate was someone came up to me at a show and said, "Can you stick my teeth back together?" I thought, whoa, wow. Anyway, I sold them a bottle of super glue. They came back the next day and said, "It worked brilliant, John. I had pork chops last night." So there you go. You know, it's a delight in dealing with wonderful public and modelers wherever they are around the world. And you know, you do get some unusual things though. So they're 3 examples, I think.
Well, and then there's the Wallace and Gromit story that your products used on their show, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, we supply the studios in Bristol with tacky wax, so they can position the puppets or the models. They're models. They're plasticine models. They put them together. But yeah, just trying to think of the name of the studios. But yeah, sorry, but it escapes me the name. But anyway, but yeah, lots of uses for tacky wax, unusual. But the beetle, I thought, beats a lot really. But I think the other thing I would worth mentioning is the environmental pressures. What are we doing? We certainly want, with the move to water-based things where we can, we're trying to reduce solvent emissions and reduce the amount of packaging going forward on our products, and moving where we can from plastic to cardboard, you know, packaging, trying to do away with that. I think that's particularly important. I think your Disney taught us a lot of things when they banned around the Disney sites, they banned things, don't they, from being sold in shops, which I think is quite clever. Well, it's necessary, not clever. It's obvious. And at the factory, I got some statistics. We have reduced the power consumption in our building from 1,500 kilowatts a year to 700 kilowatts just by changing all the bulbs and in the buildings, saving 0.13 ton of CO2 per year. and we've also got solar panels. So, we're trying to do a bit. Not easy, but, there you go.
So the studio you were talking about, is it Ardman?
Yes.
Ardman, yes. Yeah, thanks, Jay. Yes, thanks, Jay. Yeah, Ardman. That's right. They're down in Bristol. But yeah, I think they don't buy it from us direct. They buy it from a distributor. But but no, it's nice.
They used to do.
Yeah, they used to buy it from us direct, but no longer. But anyway.
Well,
and all I'd say is, what apart from the financial benefits of running a business, what has the business brought to Vivian and I over the last years? I think the main thing is the friends from that we've encountered, really, from mainland China, Australia, the US. I'd mention a few in the US. Chris Jackson, who's given us a lot of guidance and encouragement in the States with the jet oil and the epoxy glues that we're selling. Come on, John, we need to do this. Manny Rodriguez and Dan at Aero Panda, who've taken us to heart. Mark Freeland at Retro RC and Craig Greening at Horizon, particularly challenges sometimes, but it's all for the good and make things better. Ali Machinsky and Annie Miller going back 2 or 3 years. So, and I would say thank for the opportunity of talking to North American modelers through Aviation Modeler magazine, really. So I think that's really good, and to know you, Jay, really, and holding the flag for the hobby, I think is quite wonderful. We've got a great team of people, 8 people at Deluxe Materials, and especially for my wife for putting up with this for about 50 years, but holding the hand and challenging and encouraging us all the way along. So it's really people. And all I would say is final remarks is, if you want to buy a product, buy them from a dealer. Try and support your local hobby shop. I think that's quite important. We have got quite a lot of distributors around the world. Phone them up for the local store. I know some of them are closing, but always try and support your local hobby shop. And very, very available through Horizon in America. And if you're one of our customers, we say thank you. And if you're not, we'll hope to serve you soon, I think is the message. All right. And there you go. That's over to you, Jay, I think, really.
Well, I appreciate that, John. I appreciate all the information that you've shared with us today on the show, and the show and tell, if you will. It's always very interesting, and it's always interesting to have conversations with you over Zoom or Teams or whatnot. Appreciate all your support of the magazine and AMA,
Yeah.
And looking forward to celebrating your 50th anniversary next year.
Yes, that's right. And we'll continue to support the Model Aviation magazine. So count on our support going forward and our dedication to the needs of modelers. All right.
Well, let's. I'm going to share with everybody that our next show won't be quite a month away, since this show was postponed a week. So our next show will be on June 17th. And our guest is Steve Nall, who I talked a little bit about on the last show. He is a prop maker, visual effects, special effects person that's worked on Ghostbusters. He's worked on Fright Night, and not intentionally, but I've got a prop here. Here's Fright Night. He worked on Fright Night, which is a 1985 vampire movie, Vampire Next Door film.
Wow.
And he worked on Ghostbusters. He worked on, he molded Spock's ears in the original Star Trek movie, the first Star Trek the Motion Picture. He worked on Klingon appliances in Star Trek 6. He, just several really neat things that he's been involved in. And I actually found him because I was watching the documentary for Fright Night, and they interviewed him, and he had an AMA sticker on his desk. And I reached out to him the next day. He agreed to be on the show. We've become fast friends. So we're going to talk to him. He's a big time into aero modeling since 1985. He's
Wow.
also used RC products for special effects. So we're going to talk a little bit about his career in movies and television, and we'll talk a bit about his hobby. And You can look him up online. He has videos on YouTube, and you can see all his model airplanes hanging up while he's showing these really cool models or masks or anything he's working on. You can just see all kinds of airplanes. And when I mentioned it a month ago, someone flew with him and knew him. He's in California. So he'll be our guest. We're excited to have him on and talk about that. John, thanks again for being
That's
on.
all right.
And we'll look forward to talking to you soon, and look forward to seeing everybody on June 17th for the next show.
Yeah. Well done, Jay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye,
All right.
everyone.
Bye.